Today we will be working with Shepherd CMMS, and I will let them introduce themselves in just a moment. But if you could advance the slide, Don. A little bit about Meridian and our background. We're a Midwest-based NetSuite certified partner. NetSuite is the core of what we do. We're a technology consulting organization focused in the pre-sales mode on NetSuite configuration consulting, business need assessment, third-party solution analysis and research. So as great as NetSuite is, we often find ourselves needing to extend the value of the platform. And that's the purpose of the Partner Spotlight series, to introduce an audience to a portfolio of solutions with unique capabilities that are deeply integrated to NetSuite. Beyond the pre-sales aspect, Meridian will implement NetSuite, work as the project management and program manager for a variety of solutions brought to market, and then support the entire solution after the sale of managed support services, technical and application support, as well as, if and when necessary, staff augmentation. If you'd hit the next slide, Don. But today, again, we're working with Shepherd CMMS. Next in the series, to mark on your calendars, April 21st, we'll be working with Paystand, which is a credit card and ACH processing tool tied to the NetSuite landscape, and also more and more involved in the automated receivables automation aspects of the solution. With that, I'll turn it over to Don to introduce himself and the Shepherd solution.
Thank you, Doug. I appreciate the introduction and the projects that we've brought live together, which are not a few. So I am going to introduce Shepherd. I'm CEO of Shepherd. I'm involved both in customer implementations as well as sales. I don't like to stay far away from the product or from the end user. Shepherd has 4 and soon a 5th large families of feature sets or modules. It's field service management. That's your dispatching and scheduling. Maintenance management. What is a 30-day service? What is a 1,000-hour service? What steps does it include? Rental. Health, safety, and wellness, which is becoming an increasing request from customers in the United States, as well as, which we launched in the spring, support desk for remote case management using the NetSuite case record. We are a native application, and as you watch this demonstration, I think that's what you're going to want to, well, what I should try to communicate and make most important to you, and hopefully you leave with as your takeaway, is that there's zero integration, zero synchronization. We are reading and writing all of our data to your NetSuite database where it lives, and we can only touch or see it if you grant us access. And that's a world of difference from what we call primitive architecture, requiring synchronizations, integrations, external databases. And just as a note, we are the 2021 Suite Cloud International Partner of the Year. We're grateful for that award at SuiteWorld last year.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We're happy. I actually don't care much for awards, but it's important. I learned afterwards. Maybe that's because I never got awards beforehand. Just participation trophies as a child. So this was a real one, though. Now, I will say that I do wish to get to the product. And what you'll see here is just a pie chart. We're inserting ourselves a bit aggressively into NetSuite's own right here. And what we wish to make clear is that we are BFN certified NetSuite that works on its platform. And again, single data source, even though it's an external app. You'll see our profile here. We do development, support, implementation, and sales from Estonia. Now, about half of our staff are located here. The rest, the other half, are in Hong Kong and the United States. And we spread them out that way so that we can offer dev support just about 24 hours of the day if it's necessary. In most cases, it's not. And then, of course, we have implementation staff in Latin America, which is becoming an increasing area of focus for us. So we are live at just over 100 customers. If you count subsidiaries and customers that are not live, that brings us to about 150. So I'll advance. These are just a sample of our customers. Now, they're so different. We've got robotics companies, franking machines, and printers. What you'll notice, though, is that there's one thing that they all have in common, and that is the interaction between man and machine. It's a very broad definition, but what we do is we govern that relationship. We measure it, we direct it, we help you organize and schedule that. So I think I'm going to leave these slides to demonstrate as well. I prefer to get into the product, but these are a nice takeaway, just summarizing our basic work order management, asset management, customer, as well as equipment rental functionalities. And then we go later on to the areas that are external, which still read and write information directly. That's our Shepherd BI tool, which is financials, our mobile application, enhancements on reporting, and then resource management.
And if I may, Don, from the resource management standpoint, from our perspective, we've done quite a bit of work in the NetSuite project management space. The resource allocation and scheduling tool set are much more elegant than what NetSuite provides out of the box. And we've garnered a lot of use of that with our joint clients.
I'm going to show that in just a moment, and we're actually quite proud of that. It's the scheduler is quite advanced, and it does benefit from background processing, so we can accelerate the interaction that the user has with the web app, which you'll see, as well as the planner board in a moment. But let's get to the product and let me show that to you.
Great.
I will exit out. All right, do you all have eyes on my screen?
Yeah, see sales order 3281 with time entry, service report, etc.
This is our web application. I'm going to show you, this is a service order. It is native to NetSuite. And I start with this because the focus of Shepherd is on the technicians or the engineers who are executing your work, doing your maintenance, and in many cases representing your company in the field. So we are informing the user right here that there are certain requirements for a service, and these requirements change. Out of the box, this screen is going to be quite empty. The process of implementation informs us which time method to use, which field to display, how to display them, and where. If you go into two Shepherd accounts, you're going to find that the applications look very different from one to the other. And that we must give credit to NetSuite for, because NetSuite's customization, or sorry, I don't like that word, personalization platform is quite advanced. Customization is something we always try to avoid because we like to fit everything that we build into the product. So in this case, we're using advanced time, and the technician will not only indicate duration of service as well as service item, but start and stop time. And if enabled, we will record technician or GPS location as we're using the application, so that you can see over the course of the day where, when, and what the technician was doing. Now that's easy to disable, and often companies do if they have to comply, say, with GDPR or other HR requirements. There are simple methods as well. We can dial that down just like anything. I can make a very bare bones service report. We then advance to an example service report screen, which you see here. Also your own. When we install, this will be empty out of the box. We work with the NetSuite task feature, producing tasks, assigning tasks to service manager, assigning tasks to not only the service order, but the customer and the equipment. So you can see if there were issues that are outstanding after service. Example fields, check boxes, GPS. And every time I'm pressing one of these buttons, what I wish to communicate is that we are reading and writing directly to NetSuite. This application understands if it's on a laptop, which it is right now, if it's on a mobile phone, or if it's on a tablet, and it will render the screens appropriately. Now, imagine right now that I took this application and opened it on my telephone. What you're really looking at is 3 telephone screens side by side. The interface is exactly the same, and in fact, in many cases, we have customers whose technicians use both devices, and depending upon how rapidly they're on a location, they might just use their phone or a tablet. But if they're going to stay there the whole day, it's often more convenient to fire up a laptop and report or finish a service order, as I'm doing now. Other example functionality that we have here are the ability to rate assets. And this is quite important, not just from a service but also from a sales. And if you're not selling, from a evaluation of your asset perspective. So often your technicians, when they interact with the machine, are going to know better than anyone the quality of the asset. Does it need replacement? Is it getting old, or is it brand new? We encourage them, also an optional requirement, we encourage them to reevaluate the quality of those assets as they work on them, so that they may inform your CFO, your CEO, your chief maintenance officer of that status, and perhaps inform budget decisions or drive sales promotions to your customers, new overhauls or new equipment. That kind of field data we drive directly from the device that you see here on the screen to your NetSuite account. Another functionality that I quite like, and I think that you're all familiar with if you've rented a vehicle or a car, is the quality check. Upon returning a rental, you might have had the experience that the rental agent will walk around the vehicle with a device using software very similar to Shepherd to document any damage. Or it may be the case that after a service, you wish to have a quality inspection. Is the tire pressure correct? Is the oil temperature too high? And if so, should we generate follow-up service orders? That's all possible right here in the app. We, under certain criteria, if it fails, generate a follow-up or not. We pass, and there's no follow-up work completed. Forecasting is very much at the heart of service, especially for rental companies who have equipment records on site, whose data on readings, hours, kilowatt hours, imprints, or pages printed, they may find hard to obtain because the machine is rented. So we can forecast for you, the owner of the equipment, when certain services are bound to be due or likely to be due. In some more advanced cases, actually, we work with track and trace systems integrated. I will use that word here, but they can send their data direct to the NetSuite through the RESTlet using our API to improve the accuracy of forecasts. And these kind of questions become important if you have various assets spread over a wide geography. We're almost at the end of the app. I'll show you just 2 more features, but here, of course, we have PM tasks. I quite like this feature. This is a cookbook approach to service. And I want to just state as well, or warn, this is a more advanced feature. Companies that implement it, or if they implement it well, and that's a data question, what they'll find is that they're providing a resource for the staff in the field. Those of you who've managed service departments like I have will know that often when you dispatch a technician to the field, he'll do what he knows, not the 30-day service that's due, not the 10,000 hour, but he'll do what he was trained to or remembers to do. Here we're controlling for that activity in the field, bringing ERP to the field where the technician stands. So that said, I'm going to go into NetSuite a bit. Now, we will switch from one browser tab to the other, but you're still reading and writing your data from the very same place. So let's take an example customer right here. I have Everlight Chemical. This is a NetSuite customer record. It's their very own. We've not added our own. We don't want to do that. We would destroy the purpose of the NetSuite customer record if we were to do so. So I list all of the equipment that customer owns, and it may be the case that we even sold it to that customer. We call that process in-fleeting, where we take an inventory item, sell, and then represent its new life as customer property here underneath the customer. Now, there are actually several tables. We'll handle leased equipment as well as rented equipment all for that customer. I think it gets a bit more interesting if we actually take a look at one of these machines. So let's take a look at the rotary surface grinder. This is a custom record in NetSuite, but again, it still lives in NetSuite. We depict the hierarchy, the components here on the system. I'll see a full service history. These are service orders that a dispatcher has created and scheduled, and that, if I go back to this page, a technician has completed from the mobile or the web application. Instant informing from one user field to another, perhaps at a desk. If I look up its recurrence, also an advanced but a very powerful feature. I showed just a moment ago how we can collect forecasts either via integration like track and trace or manual entry from the mobile application. Those forecasts drive for us service completion due dates. Now, if they don't, in this example, we've highlighted those that are late or overdue, as you see here. And that results in, or feeds from, I should say, a service configuration, which I'm loading right now. These service configurations are the maintenance plan over the lifetime of any machine. You'll see here we've got several intervals denominated in calendar days, 250, 500, 1000, and 2000, all using NetSuite service items, which is very important because then we'll feed into NetSuite projects and using timesheets and project tasks. And for those customers who have this information, I'll zoom in just a bit. You may break down each interval of your service regime into the steps that it includes. We call this nested maintenance. It's an industry term. We didn't, of course, create it, but the idea is a maintenance interval of a higher value. In this case, 500 will suppress a maintenance interval that below it that is also a multiple of it. So at 500, we simply do the 500. We don't do the 250. At 750, we revert to the 250. At 1000, we skip the two intervals beforehand. Now, having done that, what I'd like to do now is just book very quickly a service for you. I've got a page queued up so you don't have to wait for me. So we're requesting an emergency service, and I'm going to book it to Terry right here on the screen. This is an example of a record or custom record in NetSuite, which we also make your own. Any standard fields that you see or that you don't like, we remove, and any that you need but do not see, we can add for you. And just like the mobile app and the planner board, which you'll see in a moment, no two customers are alike. This becomes very much your own over the course of the implementation. So we'll advance. We are or have knowledge of not only the machine, but I've chosen the PPM 90-day service and a contract. And this also is where the combination of NetSuite and Shepherd distinguish themselves, is the ability not only to schedule and to dispatch a technician, an engineer or mechanic, but also to calculate and automate any required billing. So you'll see here that we have chosen this Equinor contract. In this example, we are covering labor, meaning that it is free. We will produce an invoice at zero value or close the sales order to eliminate the invoice. And I'll go ahead and save it right now. And then we're going to advance to a service contract screen. The service contract is your collection of billing rules. Service contracts may be global, applying to everyone. Time and materials is a very good example. They may be customer specific. They may be framework. Framework is, well, what it implies is, say you have a contract with McDonald's, it applies to all of the franchises that you have modeled or mapped as children of McDonald's in your NetSuite account. But what we'll do on a contract, and these can be complex, but most often they're quite simple in implementation, is we'll make a library of those services that they contain. We might even bring in specific labor rates, as you can see here. for each of those services. We can build separate libraries of travel. Maybe travel is billed at a different rate than the service or the labor items. We can handle expense modeling, and as well as handling failures in the field, we can remind you to perform quarterly maintenance, for example, or monthly maintenance, whatever frequency you define. So I'm going to return now to, I'll show you first the planner board. Typically, a service manager will have their dashboard open and the planner and/or web app. Often our users have multiple screens when they're sitting at a desk, just like the web app, which I showed a moment ago. This planner board reads and writes its data direct to NetSuite. So let me show you what we're seeing here. On the bottom, of course, you'll see that there are multiple views: week, work week, custom view, month and day. These tiles, each one of these tiles, what it represents is a booking here on the web application. I'm going to leave this page. You'll see tiles here. Tiles are omnipresent in the Shepherd design. So those tiles on the left-hand pane all have reciprocal representations here on the planner board. I've booked, for instance, service order 4778 to Antonio. I've got a green checkbox next to it. That indicates that it's complete. And I know it's complete because when Antonio was using the web application, he indicated, for example, on the service order that the service was finished. That's one of the time entry buttons right here. I can see also on the application that in this case, he's traveling. That's the little vehicle icon. But what I wish to paint a picture of is a service manager back at base reading this planner board, which has push. You don't need to refresh, and seeing instant feedback from the field, which is this web application right here. There's an interaction, an exchange from information from the web to the planner, but also to the standard NetSuite pages. In all cases, all of those elements, your web app, your planner board, and NetSuite are reading and writing their data from the same place. When you sit with or for your first demonstration of NetSuite, very often that person will mention the single source of truth line. It's essential. It's very important, and that's why we built Shepherd. I mentioned a moment ago that I manage a service department. I grew up in service businesses, engineering firms for drinking water, wastewater, and pharmaceutical or ultra pure water applications. We went live on NetSuite in 2001. We're one of the first customers. We needed a maintenance application, and I wasn't willing to risk our biggest money earner service on an integration. It didn't exist, so in 2013 we began to build it ourselves, and far too many years since Shepherd is now the leading and dominant field service application on the NetSuite platform. So I have showed creation of service orders, scheduling of service orders as a planner, the web application as a field user. Let's take a minute, just a minute, and talk about inventory. One of our customers' most frequent problems is I'll call it decentralized inventory or mobile inventory, maybe a better term. When your inventory is on trucks or vans, and if you have 10, 20, 30, 40, or 50 of these, you often have a very small fortune riding around with your stuff. Now, NetSuite has the concept of locations, and you typically use a location to represent your warehouse. What we have done is created or extended that location concept as well as bins, and recommend that you create field as well as warehouse locations. So when I search for an item, what I see on this page right here is Antonio has 2 yellow Ethernet cables. Yako has 13. Now Terry, in this case myself, I've got 2 of them signed out. Now I can't do anything with it, but that's there for my information as a service manager or say an inventory manager. But here, for example, I see that I can check out. And that's what I'm doing, just like as if I'm on an Amazon store. I fill out a checkout bin, and that checkout process which I'll show. What it will do is if I submit, it will move that part from the warehouse bin to my own personal bin. Now, the advantage of doing that, and not all companies do, some companies prefer not to keep inventory at all, and some don't model what's in their vans, but the majority of our customers do implement this feature, because now an inventory manager will know that this one electrical cable and this, say, two Ethernet cables are no longer to be found in your warehouse. They're now in my own personal bin. And that maybe Antonio and John and Jack have 50 others. And a warehouse manager will know not to look for them. He'll know who has them. But I, as a CFO or an inventory manager, will know the value and the quantity of my mobile inventory. This can influence demand planning, get you closer to just-in-time inventory, and of course, just give you better information on your investment in inventory. So I'm coming towards the end. I do often go a bit long, and I do apologize for that. So I'll just give you another view of the planner, but I do want to mention what we consider our biggest feature for 2021, late 21 that is, but we began and we're releasing this spring, actually April the 1st, is a full overhaul of our rental module. Rental went live in 2017 with an Atlas Copco company, a subsidiary, and since then has grown, but has been the major focus of about a 7-month development effort. Now, what you'll see here on this rental contract, excuse me, is the new CMMS rental object. What this object allows you to do is to rent multiple equipment records on the same record, swap them out, charge different rates for one, for another, bill in advance, bill in arrears, assign service to all of the equipment records on a rental contract, and all through, of course, the native NetSuite billing platform, which is driven by the sales order. You're renting the same machine that you're maintaining, that you're selling or leasing, and we think there's a massive value in that. You don't want those on different applications. The result in the end is, excuse me, intelligence. And that's what I'm showing right here. It's a rather busy screen. It's meant for a CFO, an accountant, a controller, a maintenance manager. But this tool, the Shepherd, we call it BI, allows you to report. It's a financial tool, but it starts from, in this case, the equipment, in this case, the service order, in this case, the service contract, customer, or the location, all from a service perspective. We're calculating based on service triggers, booking date, completion date, and searching all of your NetSuite account to find all of the posting transactions, not calculated transactions, but posting transactions, so that you can report on the profitability of your service by equipment, by service order, and we've even just released the ability to report on the profit created by or cost and revenue by technician. One customer has just began paying their technician's commission based on their effort, which we find quite interesting, of course. I am wrapping up. We'll end with a dashboard, also a key page that a service manager will likely have on their screen at most parts during the day. This page here, I think, makes it clear that you're in one place. I can see here all of my equipment records listed by their status. Are they awaiting repair? Are they in repair? Are they headed out to the customer? Are they in construction or in assembly? All of my machines rental fleet grouped by status as well. Open follow-up tasks, or post-service open follow-up tasks. All of my service orders grouped. There are hundreds and hundreds of searches, of analytics and objects in the product. What we'll do with you over the course of implementation is find the right ones that are correct for you, for your dashboards, for your roles, for your users, and ultimately the ones that allow you to drive your service business to profit. Doug, thank you very much. I hope I didn't go too long. I know I sometimes do, excuse me. But
no, that's tremendous. If you could maybe kick back to the slide deck that we were on there, Don,
yes.
Wrap up. But we've done a number of projects with with Shepherd. And as I was saying, these built for NetSuite solutions are tremendous because they're natively integrated with NetSuite. In this case, Shepherd can run offline as well as in a connected environment, and really built value for our mutual clients as well as all of Shepherd's installed base. And happy to have you join us today, do this demonstration. Maybe continue advancing to the end there.
Excuse me, I got the wrong slide.
Oh, that's
Long deck, huh? Here we are. Excuse me. Thank you.
There we go. So to wrap up, Meridian is an expert in all phases of ERP solutions. Our project managers, professional practitioners of delivering the NetSuite solution, work hand in glove with the project managers on the partner solutions like Shepherd to help stage all phases of the project to bring this live on budget, on time. We scour the NetSuite ecosystem for value-added services like Shepherd. I think the demonstration brings that power forward here and create that trusted partner relationship to deliver ongoing support services, not just for the NetSuite solution, but our team can be a single hand to shake, to collaborate with Shepherd, ourselves, NetSuite, to make your implementation of NetSuite as successful and optimize it to its largest extent. One more slide, if you would advance, Don, please. We do have the additional event on the 21st of April. You can register on our website here. If there are any questions at all regarding to the content of today or about NetSuite in particular, please email us at sales@meridianbusiness.com. This presentation will be logged on our website, and there'll be a blog post associated with it, as well as a social media post. So if we can be of further assistance in any way, shape, or form, let us know, and we can get in touch with Marcus, Don, Antonio, or any of the rest of the Shepherd team. And Don, really thank you for supporting us and being a great partner. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, Doug.
All right. Take care. Thank you all.